Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to ISPI Live number 19. My name is George Gu. I'm the president-elect of ISPI, the International Society for Performance Improvement. For over 60 years, ISPI is dedicated to improving organizational and individual performance through evidence-based research and practice. On December 17th, we had the honor to have Dr. Roger Edison shared with us, Ask Dr. Roger Edison. In that session, we talked with Roger Edison. We had the honor to have him and to let him to review our 60 years of history and development, because the year 2022 is a big celebration, the 60th year anniversary of the founding of ISPI. And then on December 28th, we had a special panel discussion live to Chinese audiences, and was live broadcasted on December 28th, was a Wednesday, and with machine translations, and we received a very good number of audience. We received over 8,800 live audience one night. So the topic was how to build stronger team in the post-pandemic era. We had the guest speakers, the panelists were Mr. Peter Biverso, Bill Yeager, and Zakaria Chaudhary. I was there too. I was traveling to Washington, D.C., so we live broadcasted to from Washington, D.C., and we're going to rebroadcast it next week. Today's session, originally scheduled guest, is postponed to some later time. So today, we're so honored to have Dr. Nancy Burns, president of ISPI, to talk about ISPI 2022 year in review. Today is the first session of 2023, so it's a great time to talk about it. 2022 marks the 60 years anniversary of ISPI. At the beginning of this new year, Dr. Nancy Crain Burns will review some of the accomplishments that ISPI and its members, its partners have achieved together, and what will be ahead in the year and beyond. Dr. Nancy Crain Burns is the founder and president of Crain Burns Associates, LLC. As a certified performance technologist, CPT, she leads individuals, teams, and organizations through strategies, identifying opportunities that achieve effective solutions. Her dissertation research connected aspects of leadership, communication, and influence styles that enhance self-reflection and collaboration with others. During her career in automotive financial services organizations, Nancy worked her way through the field organization to a position in the firm's executive office, which terms from the mailroom to the boardroom. She has worked in operations, accounting, project, and information technology management, as well as liaison with business executives for strategy planning and technology requirements. After retirement from the corporate world, Dr. Burns moved into academia as instructor and teaching and learning coordinator. In this new role, she developed courses, mentored faculty, and enhanced courses in the global project management curriculum. She has taught leadership and entrepreneurship, organizational behavior, management strategy, strategic human resources, operations, philosophy, American enterprise, training and organizations, and project management at university level. Dr. Burns is active in her community as well, and she served as on several non-for-profit boards. She served as the chair of the steering committee for rural community visioning implementation. Nancy joined ISPI both at international level and the Michigan chapter level in 2003. She served as VP of programs in Michigan and CPT chair and president of the Capella University chapter, and also program chair and society liaison of the Tennessee chapter. She's a CPT reviewer right now, and also international for the international organization, ISPI headquarters, ISPI headquarters level. As ISPI director, she served as the liaison liaison to the chapter partnership committee and collaborates with finance marketing director, as well as other board members. She is currently the president of ISPI. So without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Nancy Crain Burse.
Thank you, George. And thank you for that introduction. Thank you for showing that video up front. I'm wondering how many of our listeners had a chance to see that video. That was created by Stephanie Johnson, one of our board members who was marketing director at the time. And I think it very well represents ISPI. So I'm wondering if we could have just a quick brainstorming session on what people saw in that video. How would that video, if you looked at it, apply to your world and your use of ISPI? And while you're doing that, I will start to bring up my slides. So please put some information in the chat for us. All right. Can everybody see my slides?
Not yet.
Yeah, Nancy.
Okay. Did that work? All right. Thank you, George. So good morning, everybody. And we will talk in the next slide. We'll talk about ISPI a little bit, but do we have any comments in the chat?
Not yet.
Okay, well, we'll give people time. And if we have time later, we may replay that video if people didn't see it. But to me, it's very representative of all the different diverse job descriptions and areas of expertise, like university, scholarly, industry, just all the different places that use ISPI principles and practices. And so we'll talk a little bit about this as we go through the slides.
Nancy,
So
we got one comment saying I joined late, but what I saw seemed inclusive and informative.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And that's what we wanted to see. So when ISPI was formed, it is inclusive and informative overall, and it applies to any industry, any walk of life. It applies to business, to training, to academics, to all types of industry. And that is what we were trying to convey in that video. So when another
comment.
Yes.
Sorry, I thought the video was excellent. It does represent a range of roles our members have.
Wonderful. Thank you. And we'll take more. I'm going to give a little bit of an introduction of ISPI from its formation in 1962. So our purpose at the International Society for Performance Improvement and our value is that we help people and organizations make a difference to their coworkers and clients, their communities, and their world. In 1962, our founders represented a multidisciplinary approach. Our thought leaders embraced ideas from behavioral psychology, instructional technology, organizational development, and human resource development. So there really is something for everybody. And we are research-based, and we follow our 10 standards, which are called our principles and practices. of performance improvement. And this is both a systemic, which means we take the high level overview, and systematic, we follow a step-by-step approach. That's a value-based approach. So this is what ISPI is all about. Any other comments, George?
Not currently.
Okay.
Yeah, people are asking us to post the links to the chat area. They want it.
All right, wonderful. And so we want to thank our advocates. Our advocates are some of the companies that really get involved with ISPI at a very high level. We have special meetings with them. They are able to help strategize for ISPI and for each other. I call them a think tank of ISPI, and we meet with them during the conference and then also at other times throughout the year. And so these are some of our current advocates. We also, Amgen just became an advocate, and I don't have their logo yet. So we want to thank Sheets, Samsung, Working Group, Synchrony, Kaiser Permanente, and Amgen, and also the U.S. Coast Guard for being our advocates. Our membership is continually trending up. And so we have seen these trends. We've been tracking this since 2020. And you can see that we are consistently growing. And so we appreciate everybody joining as members. All the members that we can get, the better. And we appreciate our members. One of our goals was to really provide member value, to listen to our members. And I think that the increase in membership is evidence that we have been doing that. And we want to really highlight our volunteers. So our volunteers contributed to the success of ISPI. This is our professional home. Those who are members know that. And our volunteers share their time and talent. So we have volunteers at many different levels. This was a picture from the conference behind the scenes, putting together the badges, and it's one of my favorite pictures. But I think about we have our board of directors who are all volunteers. We have a working board. We appreciate all that they do. Bill Yeager and George and Jen helped put this ISPI Live together. And so I appreciate everything that they're doing. We have historians. Some of our historians are past presidents helping us to look at the history of ISPI. We have past presidents who are mentors. We have our engagement team who gets our members involved and helps them to find their place, whether it's a volunteer or the services that they need from ISPI. We have our conference committee who's doing tremendous work, and many, many committees. So I'm not naming them all here, but we appreciate you all. Our volunteers are essential to our success. Another thing that we worked on during 2022 was establishing a new publishing model for Performance Improvement Journal and Performance Improvement Quarterly. So we appreciate the editors, the associate editors, and all who review articles for us. These two publications are both now peer-reviewed, so you can publish here, and it's a great place to get involved. The Performance Improvement Journal is a great place for faculty members to get their students involved and work with them on publishing quality articles. You can publish by going to our ISPI website and looking for the link under our resources for publications, and it will lead you to how you publish your articles within our journals. And if anybody has questions as we move along, please put them in the chat, and George will stop me and I will stop and answer those. The other thing, the exciting project that George wanted to launch in 2022 is ISPI Live. You can see this in action right now. And George has, and all of the volunteers for this have done a tremendous job. And really getting some of the work that's being done out in our world out to the public to really market and advertise more about ISPI as an organization. And everybody wants to attend the conference. So I want to congratulate Bill Yeager and Andy all of the volunteers, all of the conference team, Andy Campbell and Lorraine and Jennifer were all a great part of that. So thank you all for that. We did have the 2022 Performance Improvement Conference in Nashville. We also had conferences in 2020 and 2021 virtually. So we kept going even through COVID and all of the challenges. So thank you all for being there and for attending and for bringing us back into being able to get that human connection again. The other thing I wanted to remember to thank our sponsors for the conference. They helped make the event possible. And so we had Paladin Continuous Improvement, John Lazar and Associates, ROI Institute, Hale Associates Center, Improvement Consulting, and Crain Burns. And so we are looking for sponsors for the 2023 conference. So if you have a company or work for a company that may want to have a chance to market themselves at the conference, please pass that along. Another very important part of ISPI, we are a membership organization, and our chapters are very important to us. So our chapters in the society, we have a partnership committee that helps us keep connected to each other. In my introduction that George mentioned, I was in 3 chapters before I became the president of the International Society, and I loved being a part of the chapter. And I really fell in love with ISPI at the 2003 Boston conference, where I met Michigan chapter members and I met society members. And so I encourage you to be both a chapter member and a society member. And another really important part of our society is our certification program. Over 20 years ago, Dr. Judy Hale worked with ISPI and created the Certified Performance Technologist designation, our CPT. And Hale and Associates just also conducted a job study, a 20-year job study, to track where we are with the CPT and what are people seeing that are CPTs and how do we encourage that. And so they did pull statistics that the annual earnings of a certified performance technologist are 27% higher than those who don't have a certified performance technologist designation. So I thought this was a good graphic to show everyone. If you have more questions about the CPT, please let us know. And you can become a CPT by applying on our website. And there are instructions and there's a handbook and everything to help you through that process. We also periodically offer classes to guide you through the process. And so just ask us if you want to attend one of those. We like to highlight ISPI Emea, which is Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Carol Panza and her team started this 21 years ago. They just had their 21st annual conference and held it virtually because, again, we have some travel challenges across the world. I have been to a few Emea conferences. They are wonderful. They are a little bit different than our regular annual conference, and you get an opportunity to work with an entity in that region of the world and learn more about their challenges and performance improvement. You find out that the world is that we're all the same around the world. And in spite of the diversity, there are many common practices that we can share. And now we want to look ahead. So please join ISPI as a member. We've been offering this ISPI Live as a way to get our name out there and for people to become familiar with the work we do. It's very easy to become a member. Go to ispi.org. Ask any questions that you have right here on this presentation, and we'll be glad to answer those for you. Any questions right now, George? Any thoughts from anybody?
Oh, yeah, I got a bunch of questions. First one, is there one or more virtual chapters?
Yes, we do have several virtual chapters. The Bay Boise area is one. There are some that are associated. Capella University, for example, has a virtual chapter for their students. We do have a new chapter forming in the Western region, and that's not quite announced yet, I don't think. We have the Gulf Coast chapter, which is a virtual chapter. So we have several different opportunities. And again, if you go to our website, you can find the chapters that are established in geographic locations, but we have chapters that are formed in other ways as well.
The other question, Nancy, Dr. Burns, we got is about is the CPT study with statistics available?
I believe that the team is working on putting some information together that can be shared. I know that it has been shared internally, and it was also shared at the Nashville conference through Judy Hale made a presentation there. And so I have heard, and I don't know if any of our board of directors members are online, but I know I heard the other day that the team is putting together some potential updates to the CPT based on that study. And the study was extremely in-depth and important for moving forward as a society. So we appreciate the work that Hale Center did there. And I don't know if there's anybody on the call that can give any more recent information, but we will follow up on that for whoever's interested. So if we could get names of those who are asking those questions.
Third, and the last question so far is there a date for 2023 Emea conference or timeframe?
I am not sure about Emea. And if anybody is on the ISPI live session knows that, but we can certainly find that out because we do, when we get the information from Emea, we do publish it on our website as well. It's usually in the September timeframe. That
Nancy,
it, George?
where will be the Emea conference held normally, during and after, or pre, during, and post pandemic?
Well, the two I attended, one was in Bologna, Italy, and the other one was in Gothenburg, Sweden. I believe they had one in Macedonia in between, well, after those two. So it really depends on what country they've selected. And so I don't really know what they're planning for this year, but I think it's going to depend on travel arrangements and things like that, travel restrictions in countries.
So it's normally in Europe.
It's normally in Europe, yes.
Yep. Okay. That's the question so far.
Okay, thank you. All right, so, well, this is about our next conference in Williamsburg, Virginia. And again, I just want to congratulate the conference committee. Lorraine Fraser-Ake is our conference chair this year, along with Andy Campbell, who is the board liaison, and Bill Yeager, who is the board mentor for conferences. And it looks like it's going to be a fabulous location. As the theme shows, is strengthening human performance through innovation. And so, Georgia, we have another question.
Yes. Any plans to go hybrid with conferences?
We were hybrid in Nashville. We'll do that again in Williamsburg. And so we will have a virtual element. And Bill is here if we need to fill in any more details. But it was very successful the way that the conference team handled it. We had an application that allowed people to come in virtually and to record many of the sessions. And so, yes, we are planning to do that. Anything else, George?
Nancy, another question is, are we going to have ISPI live sessions during the conference?
That is something I think we're working through with the team, is it not? Okay.
Okay, that's the question so far.
All right. Well, I do think this might be the last slide. So I'm going to go ahead. If it is, I'll advance and we'll end the slideshow and then just come up for further questions and discussion.
Thank you, Nancy, for making the presentation and putting 2022 year in review within such a short time frame. I know that the ISPI board of directors and all the volunteer committees and they have done tremendous amount of work because of the pandemic, because of working ways of communications have changed, but we kept ISPI. All the activities are very pertinent to all of our members, our partners, and collaborators, and also our other collaborating organizations as well. So, Nancy, we got because this is a 2022 year in review. So last year was the ISPI's 60th anniversary, and I'm a Chinese. I was born Chinese, and then 60 years is one of the biggest years. A full cycle is a heavenly branch and earthly stem. So it's a full combination. So 60 years of full cycle of any life in Chinese culture. But anyway, 60 years is not short. So could you tell us in 2022 what was our focus in last year in combination of celebrating our 60th anniversary and also what have we achieved mainly? I know you covered some of them, but can you tell us what's our focus?
Yes, George, thank you. So we focused on expressing our values. So we wanted to make sure that our constituents, our potential members, our current members would realize how we provide value. And so we did work on that value statement. Again, Stephanie Johnson did a wonderful job on that. And ISPI Live is more evidence of what has happened with that expressing our value. We want to provide extraordinary products and services. And so you can see in our website, we have certifications, we have accreditation, we have our conferences, our publications, and we have the ability to work together through our chapters and share ideas. And so ISPI has a wealth of products, services, and resources for our members. We wanted to be available to listen and serve our members, and we want to build and sustain the society for future generations. So in order to achieve those goals, we revitalized ISPI. We became an all-volunteer organization, so our board of directors and our volunteers are filling all staff positions right now, which is something that we want to work through and work for the future to be able to do more in the future. But we have steadily increased memberships, engaged quality volunteers. We held a successful in-person and virtual conference combined, but we also held 2 virtual conferences in 2020 and 2021. We never stopped our momentum. And so we want to keep that going. And we reviewed our CPT and HPT standards, just as we said with the study, and we continue to improve our processes. So those are the things that we've done and accomplished. We've also been careful about paying down debt while we're raising revenue. So those are just some basic things that we've done. Anything else, George?
Thank you, Nancy. In the introduction that I noticed that you joined ISPI in 2003, and that was like 20 years ago, exactly 20 years ago. So this year would be your 20th anniversary of your ISPI membership. So can you tell us, when you started with ISPI, what was it like? I know that you joined ISPI Michigan chapter, and tell us how did you start it? What value does it provide to you? What hope or what expectations did you have? And then looking beyond that 20 years ago, when somebody introduced you ISPI to you, ISPI to you, and then And then what happened?
Well, it's quite a story. My brother Al Crain was a member of ISPI and had attended the Boise State University program. And he said, "This is the best program I've ever seen. You have to come to the conference with me." I was working on my MBA at the time at Northwood University in Michigan, and I wound up writing my thesis about performance improvement after talking to Al, after going to the conference and starting to read all of his books on performance improvement. So I started to read his university books. Everybody in Boston was so friendly and so giving and sharing of their information. ISPI people are generous in providing and sharing and mentoring others. And that's what I noticed at that conference. And so I just fell in love with it. And soon after that, I met some people from Michigan. I was invited to join the Michigan chapter, and the rest is history. I love the organization, and that's why I'm a part of it now and willing to be a volunteer and help the organization to continue.
Great, thank you. Thank you. So you started and then you stayed with ISPI. So my assumption is you saw the value.
Yes, absolutely. It just, to me, it's a wonderful organization, and it followed some principles that I had always put into my work at the financial institution to always try to make things better. I was doing restructuring before the book came out and things like that. And really reorganizing our accounting department to match with our credit department, things that really hadn't been done before. And so when I started to read all the books, I thought, oh, there's a reason for doing this. There's real evidence of why we should do things like this. And so that's what I like so much about ISPI.
Great, thank you. Got a couple comments and questions from the audience. So we got a comment from Tom Paul. He said, I joined the ISPI 30 years ago and started a chapter in Des Moines. The chapter didn't last long, but ISPI was influential and instrumental throughout my career. And also from WHP and education. This is a beautiful story about a brother and sister can be friends and help one another. That's 2 comments from the audience, Nancy. And also we got a question. When will details about the sessions of this year's conference be available? The conference in Williamsburg become available?
I believe that what I saw the other day from the conference team is that they are planning to have everything reviewed by a little bit later this month. And once that is done, they will be able to start making some announcements, and they'll still need to put the schedule together. So again, I don't know if Bill has any more details on that, but they are actively working on that right now. There you go. Bill just posted that the schedule should come out by the February 15th. Okay.
Nancy, back to your story. We worked together so for such a long time. I rarely use any opportunity to ask you about your history with ISPI, but I heard a list here and there. But so after you joined ISPI, you saw this very valuable. You saw the value. So did you see others have, they feel the same kind of value, colleagues or people or members or partners and or additional members? Do you get a mentor from ISPI? Do you get a coach? Have you had any opportunity to coach others and all, so on and so forth? So tell us your story.
Well, I think all of the above, and it's not like it's been a steady stream throughout, but Eileen Banchoff in the Michigan chapter, when I became the program chair, she had really made contact. She was the previous program chair, had set up all the programs for the following year. Just wonderful to work with. Darlene Van Team was another mentor who taught me about appreciative inquiry. And just a couple of years ago, Darlene contacted me. I hadn't seen her in a while. And she said, would you like to co-edit a book with me? And so we co-edited Performance Improvement Innovations together. Lisa Tunnegus, Bonnie Beresford, so many people in Michigan were just so helpful and have continued to be contacts throughout the years. The Capella chapter, we had Debbie Colbert, who is now she answers our phone for us, ISPI, as a volunteer, and answers our info at ISPI mail. Just a wonderful mentor there, Sue Charopsky, Rose Knox, and so many people that had an influence on my life. And then here in Tennessee, Bill Stetter he sent a note out, who wants to be part of a chapter? And so we started the Tennessee chapter. I was a charter member there. So yes, and you make lifelong friends and colleagues at ISPI. And I have mentored some young people coming in that have told me one of the great benefits of volunteering at ISPI is you get to know others in the field and you make those lifelong colleagues, and you can have fun as a volunteer. So I would encourage everybody to really consider volunteering with us as well.
Nancy, I want to come back to Tom Paul's question. Earlier, he said, his comment, he said, I joined 30 years ago and started the chapter in Des Moines. So that chapter didn't last long, and he said ISPI was influential and instrumental throughout his career. So my question to you, Nancy, is there any opportunity that, people like Tom, if with other professionals in their area in Des Moines and Iowa, and then they want to revive that chapter, is there a procedural? Is that hard? I mean, is that complicated? Do they pay money to ISPI to establish a new chapter? So is that whole process costs a lot, or but doesn't have any financial costs, but they're just volunteer work? Or tell us what the process is.
Right. So we actually have information on starting a chapter on our website. Jennifer, who is here running the ISPI Live behind the scenes, has been a big part of that committee, and Yvonne Delat as well, and Kevin Theos. And so we do have a process, and we'll help you get connected with a chapter, even if there's not one in your area. My daughter lived in Bettendorf, Iowa for a while. So Tom, I wish I had known you back then, but we'll be glad to talk with you anytime. So please do feel free to send an email in or to put your information here so that we can capture the chat. But we'd love to keep you connected in some way. And again, it is possible to start a chapter. Our Tennessee chapter is virtual too. I should have said that. And we've invited people in from other states. So we'll be glad to talk with you.
Great, Nancy. Thank you so much. And that's not a question from Tom, but from me. But I thought just worth asking, because there might be other examples, and then they disconnected, and then they want to build stronger community over their performance improvement community over there. And also in Minnesota, just a little bit more information to Tom, that in Minnesota, in the Twin Cities area, the MISPI, ISPI Minnesota. So MISPI.org, that's the Minnesota chapter. They have a strong influence there. I know that because I was the Minnesota chapter president in 2001 and 2002. Well, that's for years back. But anyway, thank you, Tom, for your comments. And that's a question derived from your earlier comments. So back to you, Nancy. There are other questions, comments as well. And then, Tom said, Judy Hale has been a wonderful mentor for me. So
I should have mentioned Judy too, because she has absolutely throughout. Well, even before I became president of ISPI, Judy and I were going to conferences together at her invitation, and she has been priceless in her mentoring and just really boosting up ISPI for as long as I've known her. So thank you, Judy. I think you might even be on the call today, or listening afterwards. So thanks to Judy for all she's done.
Is there an American soap opera called Everyone Loves Judy?
I don't know, but there should be.
I don't know. Something like that. Anyway, but that strongly shows that ISPI probably is your professional home, and then it's a strong community. Anyway, back to you, Nancy. There's a list of questions that I want to ask you from the audience point of view, from members and potential additional members, advocates, and partners. So you mentioned that ISPI was very influential, very valuable to you. So if a young professional or or anyone of that matter, someone very new to this field want to make ISPI their own professional home, what value will it derive from being an ISPI member?
Well, there are so many options, and we are talking to more universities, trying to help them to get their students involved. One great way a student can get into, so very young, or even adult students, and most of the students that I taught were adult education, if they want to publish, that's a great way for them to work with their faculty members and publish in our Performance Improvement Journal. They have opportunities for the awards of excellence. So somebody who is working on their dissertation, we do have a dissertation award. We have networking with professionals. As I mentioned earlier, I have talked to so many young professionals who are happy to make those connections at the conference as volunteers. And it's a great way to get to know people. ISPI it's a smaller organization, so there is an opportunity for that closer connection and personal connection with some of our thought leaders and book authors and article authors. So that is a wonderful way for you to network with professionals. We mentoring and coaching, our membership engagement team is working with more mentoring and coaching, but throughout the years, we've had informal mentoring and coaching. At the conference, we've often had a mentoring activity, and I don't think we have it every year, but that is something that we've had with being able to review people's resumes, and we would still do that to help people, I'm sure. We also have a way of helping a student with their research if they're a member. We mentioned PIJ and PIQ, Performance Improvement Journal, and Performance Improvement Quarterly. And the quarterly is really in-depth research, and so you want to spend a little bit more time working with that, but we have the criteria for that publication out on our website as well. We give you discounts on conferences and workshops. So if you are a student, you would get a discount on those activities. Again, the volunteering is such a good way to get yourself. It's not only a way to get to meet people, but it's a way to get you recognized with professionals in the field. So if you're looking for a job, and we have a career center too, where you can look at jobs and apply for jobs. But if you were looking for a job and you want to meet professionals, this is an ideal way to do it. So join ISPI and get to know people in the field. And there's probably a lot more, George, that I haven't mentioned, but some of our members who are on the call might want to put other advantages in the chat that you know of.
Thank you, Nancy. We got additional comments as well. And WHPN says, Judy Hill has mentored me for over a decade and continues to do so. The late Roger Kaufman mentored me for 5 years. And then Judy also chatted, you are all very gracious, thanks. Value comes from participation, submitting articles, volunteering, speaking, submitting an award proposal. There's a little game without playing, so play. And then Judy continues, playing is how you build your personal brand. And then Tom Powell says, I believe ISPI started as an association for programmed instruction. How much focus now and in the future on instructional technology seems to be of increasing importance? So what's your comment? That's a question, actually.
That's a question for me, George. Well, yes, and so ISPI did have different names for a while, and the names were Society for Programmed Instruction, and then we moved to performance and instruction, and then to performance improvement. And I believe that when the people that started ISPI, the thought leaders, were really into our first computer-based training elements. And so we still see, and we actually, Judy and I had a meeting with someone in South America yesterday who wants to make sure that they can show the value of their computer-based programs, the online programs. And so it's definitely our thought leaders were at the beginning of this, but it's still very important in the world, and especially with the pandemic and everything that has happened in the world, that type of instructional design has become even more important. And the technology continues to evolve, and it's changing more rapidly than we can even imagine. So it is an important part of our society. And yet we want to also encompass the other diverse disciplines that we can work with, and make sure that we are providing business value, which is another item that has come up overall in our discussions. So I hope that helps. But yes, we are an evolving organization, and we want to take that holistic view, that systemic view, so that we're looking at the big picture.
Come back to my list of questions, Nancy, and we see a lot of comments and questions from the audience, and thank you, and please continue to do so while Nancy's here. My question, you have a list of 12 questions, and then I'm only on number 5 right now. So 2022 saw some recovery after a couple of years of a pandemic shifts to our workforce. So are there any lessons?
Oh, so many lessons learned. I mean, our team, and I really give Bill Yeager so much credit for this. In 2020, when we realized we were not going to be able to go to the live conference, he and his team just rapidly turned everything around. And within a few weeks, we had the virtual conference. We didn't have any real experience with that, but I think it was very successful. And so the learning from that is just be prepared for anything. But they did a wonderful job. I thought it was a wonderful conference. We learned from that one. We got better in 2021. And then in 2022, we were able to have a blended conference with a live conference plus the online. And so, and just learning to be open to new ideas and working together, I think is the biggest lesson learned for me.
We saw significant growth in membership in 2022. So congrats, Nancy. And so how will we continue the momentum in 2023 and beyond?
Well, again, I want to give a lot of credit to Jennifer Romer, Yvonne Delat, Kevin Theos, and there are new members on their team. Lorraine has been a part of that. But to update the social media and the outreach in that area has been a tremendous influence on our membership growth. We had a university who contacted us that was very impressed with our social media outreach and wanted to become an organizational member because of that social media outreach. And so I think that's great evidence of the work that our teams are doing and our volunteers are doing to enhance our presence. And I think ISPI Live, George, that you've been working on is a tremendous outreach and recognition. And as you said, you're reaching into other countries and especially China where you are located. So I think it's just continuing that social media and recognition that ISPI is here to stay and we are here to serve our members.
Great. Next question. Thank you, Nancy. ISPI held its first post-pandemic conference in Nashville last year. So how important is that ISPI was able to once again meet face-to-face, and be able to engage on personal level?
Well, I think all you had to do was look at the faces of the attendees that in Nashville. It was a smaller setting. We had a combination of a hotel that provided some places for our presentations, but then we had an educational center that was very intimate with configuration floor plan that we could change on certain days. So one day we could have a big room, and then we could have 4 small rooms. They also had a lot of snacks involved. And everybody, of course, loves the refreshments and everything. They were very accommodating for ISPI, and it gave our members that chance to get back together. And I really saw a lot of excitement in Nashville. Then, of course, Bill and his team also provided that ability to really have the remote connection. There are still lessons to be learned. We can continue to get better. And I should mention Andy Campbell, too, and Lorraine and Jennifer in that. They were some of the core team members, and I think there were a few more Coast Guard members who got involved. But it was a wonderful conference, and people were saying it was one of the best conferences they had ever attended. So I think that's just the evidence that people wanted to be together personally and reconnect with each other, and that we want to keep that going, if we can in any way. So that's we're excited about Williamsburg next.
Great, thank you, Nancy. Next question is a little bit about 10 standards. The 10 standards is ISPI's founding principles, and one of the biggest achievements over the past 60 years. So our question to you is, all the questions is a collective question from a member. So how does a member benefits from abiding by or implementing or applying those 10 standards? So your suggestions, your experience, your recommendations.
Well, ever since I learned about the 10 standards, and I became a CPT, I think the same year that I joined ISPI in 2003, and that was when the CPT had just started, I think the year before that. I started applying those 10 standards to everything I did. And so I just think it's a great guideline. All those who are not CPTs yet should look at our website, follow the 10 standards for everything you do, then start your CPT application so you can become a CPT. They just make so much sense. If you listen to your clients, for one thing, you become a partner with your clients, you listen to your clients, you look at what you want the results to be when you get to the end of that project. You think about what the feasibility is of a solution, and you try to stay solution neutral until you have a chance to really look at all the facts and to look at all the situations that you need to think through. It's so easy to jump to a conclusion before you really think through what is really part of the process. So following the 10 standards makes sense for your life, no matter what you do, for your business, for your life. And I just highly recommend the ISPI way of thinking.
Great. Thank you, Nancy. The next question is, this year, we're going to have the conference in Williamsburg, Virginia. So tell us, how is the conference shaping up right now?
Well, I think Bill said a little while ago when they are planning to have the schedule out in mid-February. I know we've already gotten more proposals than were anticipated. And so the team is looking, can we introduce more sessions? How can we do that? So we have a really good challenge, and it looks like Bill has shown 3 tracks: academic, industry, government, and keynotes for each. Plus the presentations that are coming in look like they're very high quality, very interesting. And I think it's going to be, another opportunity for another one of the best conferences we have. So every year they're trying to get better. And it's exciting to see the dedication that we have from the team. Bill's also saying lots of off-conference activities, golf tours of Colonial Williamsburg. So again, this is in the middle of Colonial Williamsburg. And I don't know about you, but I've never been there. So I do want to see what Colonial Williamsburg has to offer.
Nancy, while you're presenting answer all those questions, thank you, first of all. And we got lots of comments, and they're excited about the conference. They're excited about the CPT, the 10 standards, the history, the community. And Judy says, again, Judy says, I'm looking forward to seeing you, others in the ISPI team and my colleagues for the Williamsburg conference. And also my Wednesday series focused on standards. My goal is bringing them to life and demonstrate how they help us better serve our clients. So there are a lot of valuable comments that will save the time. So I just want to ask you as my serious question. So what was your highlight moment as ISP as president of ISPI, Nancy?
My highlight moment is all of our volunteers working together to make ISPI successful, to continue our professional home. This just experiencing working with our excellent board of directors, our committee chairs, our past presidents, our leaders, our mentors, our ISPI historians, and all the volunteers working together to revitalize ISPI. This is our professional home, and we want it to be here for now and for the future. So I just want to thank everybody for all of the work that everybody did. And I know I want to ask you some questions, George. Do I have time to do that?
Before you do that, yes, we can do that. There are some other comments from the conference committee. They're also watching online on the other channel. And then they say that lots of off-conference activities, golf tours, and Colonial Williamsburg, Yorktown, and Jamestown nearby as well. That's the historical triangle. We'll be having the conference team do an ISPI Live in mid-February. Fabulous. And we will also release the schedule. So just the conference team wants to let the audience know that. So I guess there are going to be a lot of details to be reviewed and a lot of excitement during that session as well. So yeah, Nancy, yes, you may ask me some questions.
Okay, my turn. So George, as our incoming president-elect, what are your immediate priorities in leading the organization?
Oh, let me first take a deep breath, and that's a heavy burden. And I have, well, as incoming president, I know that continuity and the smooth transition and carry on the tradition and also further develop and create value to our members is always first for the foremost, priority for any leadership of ISPI, including all of our board members. But 3 points. One is international. ISPI have gone through 60 years of development. So we have gone, from our names, you can see our own development. First of all, when we established in 1962 in San Antonio, Texas, as a matter of fact, on December 17th or 14th, I had the honor to interview Dr. Roger Edison again for ISPI Live. You see that session. He helped us remember what the first founding conference was like, because he was there 60 years ago. So it was a fabulous session. So, but ever since that was at that time when we were established, we called ourselves NISPI, the National Society for Programmed Instruction, because in the 1950s and 60s, programmed instruction was very popular and very efficient during the post-World War II era. And then in the middle of 70s, we changed our names to NISPI, but changed the acronym doesn't change to National Society for Performance and Instruction. So that P from program to performance. And then in 1995, we changed ourselves to current name. So you can see we moved above and beyond instruction, move above and beyond learning and development, but later on we consider it as one of the vehicles or one of the method to improve organizational and individual performance. Ever since we had stronger, very strong international presence, we had members from all over the continents, actually from Europe, as you mentioned, Nancy, earlier, ISPI Emea. We formed a chapter over there, that big area. And then we had other chapters, local chapters. We have influences in footprints in Latin America, in China, in the AP region. We have ISPI, Asia Pacific Center, AP Center, and those also we have collaborators from from Thailand, from India, from Southeast Asia countries. So it's all over the world, but it's not enough. It's not sufficient as an organization. So we want to be bigger. We want to be truly internationalized, because that was in the industrial era, and now we are in the digital age. We're in the information era. So our reaching out is much easier through the internet. So we want to engage more. So that's why our web team, and with our partnership team with other chapter teams, and then all of the committees are working very hard to reach out. And one of the purposes of ISPI Live, which was I would say choreographed, at the beginning of last year, and then we spent almost more than half year to plan ISPI Live. One of the major purposes is to reach out to other countries, other cultures, other languages, because performance improvements is not just limited to North America or English culture, because it is universal. Because any type of organization needs to improve their efficiency and effectiveness and results. So that's number one, international. And number two priority of my presidency would be a broader audience. Historically, we had very, very strong reserve. We have made a lot of models, methodologies, processes and standards and concepts. We have a lot of that, but we want to make it stronger in the business community application, so that because there are limited number of developed countries, but there are very large number, according to UN, of developing countries as well. So their business, there's very real. Their needs are very real. And then also the younger generations not only in age, but also in their career development. If they're in their 50s and 40s, but they're new to the field, they're still considered young. So we need to reach younger generation in a broader sense, to make them more, to help them create, to accelerate, to fast track, to accelerate, to make results, to make value to their own organization and for the development of their career. And also, we need to build stronger ties with the chapters and other professional organizations as well. So those are the number two priority. And number three is to improve operational efficiency. That's internal. So if you consider first three, international and broader audience as external to ISPI, but internally we need to improve our operational efficiency, and that is very, very normal to any organization, because that's the basis for any achievements to be looked at. So to be done. So because of time, I just want to, stop here. Yes.
Thank you, George. Yeah, you're going to be a great leader. I'm looking forward to continuing to work together, and but for you to take the lead on this, and thank you for everything you're doing.
You bet. And also we got another comment from WHPN Education. Because of time, we have to wrap up. Thank you, Nancy, for helping ISPI overcome some difficult obstacles and revive it into a professional home that has real meaning. And thank you, George, for your kind words. WHPN Education's Nancy and her team are doing an outstanding job. So that's the comment. So Nancy, thank you so much. Because of time, we have to stop here. And thank you. I can't say thank you enough for your support, your leadership, your guidance to lead our through the difficult pandemic time. So anyway, thank you so much. So let's conclude, and that concludes the 19th session of ISPI Live. Thank you all for watching and participating. This is a very interactive and highly interactive session. If you like our session, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. So please do share this session to others on social media, any social media. ISPI Live is a weekly program on every Saturday at noon USA Eastern Time, which is 9 a.m. Pacific. If you have not joined ISPI yet and you're watching, please visit our website at ispi.org. And also, I have another important announcement to make. We started ISPI Live in August, and guess what? ISPI.live, the website now is available. So ISPI Live is now ISPI.live. That is a website that our web team launched, and it's a branch site under ISPI.org. So next week on January 14th, we will have a panel discussion replay. That is the session that we held on December 28th, the panel discussion on how to build a stronger team for performance improvement in the post-pandemic era. We had Mr. Peter Beverso, Bill Yeager, and also Zikaria Chaudhary as a panelist. So you're welcome to come back. Some of them will be online facilitating your questions. So they will be. It's going to be a replay of the actual live broadcast of this on December 28th, but some of the panelists will be here to entertain your questions. We thank Dr. Nancy Crain again for today's sharing, and also our very own Jennifer Romer today as the operator, and all the time as the operator on the background. Thank you both. Again, this is George Gu hosting for you live from Shanghai, China. It's 2 a.m. here, 2:05. Thank you all for your support, and see you next week. Have a great super swelling